Առաջ, գիտեք, որ քաղաքական կոնտանիտներն չարտիադենը։
Ինքը շատ բան չունի գարձեմ information անանք բաներու, իրեն բաբան դիկրանագերցի է, բայց they don't have information from the grand անանք բաներ, իսկ մաման իրաքցի է, մուսուլման է, նինավա։
Չարտեն առաջ մուսուլ։
No, she born there, maman.
Իր մաման։
Ha, so she don't have information for the genocide too much. Եվ ինքը քանի որ քուվեյթներ մեծեր է, արաբական դբրոցներ կացեր է, is a different life there, արաբական է ավելի. So they don't have Armenian school ագումբներ, բաներ, activity-ներ չի գա որ nor new generation in ascend into genocide but she have the information from me and I'm giving from my kids what I take from my father. This is but for me I know in babas urfaene is mamas antapene grandmother father pan Iskenderunen yev İskenderun yev Erzurum. So what I know in Med's mama is no Med's baba is maman, dede is maman. Չարտի ադենը իրեն բզդիկներով ամուսինին դարեր են իրեն բզդիկներով գուքանգոր Սուրիայի գոմի վայլն այդ եփրատ քեդին մոդը քիշերը convoy-ն չէ իրենք նստեր են բարգեր են ամենամեծը դադաս է my grandfather so he's 7 years that time maman իր գունը որ ամեն բզդիկները բարգեր են իր ամեն հակուսները հաներ էթերեր է ու դղային արդեն ծուցեր է սերը որ աս հակուսները վաղը դվեք մեգումը որ ցեզի հաց ջուր դան so ուրգերտաս կորտուն հարցուցերը մեծ դղան է դες 7 տարեկան no հոսեմ ես սերը բիդերտամ լվացվին քեդին մոտ ու շիգան ինքնին դերը ոնդերը որ մեկ իրեն փամը չնե so when he wake up morning he's the responsibility on the kids and he's 7 years old. Ինքը արերը եղբայրները քույրերը եկերը. That is my mom's side. My mom's father's side. And my mom's mother's side նորեն ինքը եղբայր ուներ, այսինքն mama is caring. I have the picture but it's in Syria. Now it's not with me. Զորավար անտրանիգին զինվորներն էր. Բարթան Շահբազ է անունը գարձեմ չարտին ադենը կացերը քերի պրնվերը չեմ քեր ինչեր է he didn't come so my grandmother չգիտեր իր եղբայրը ուր է միշտ կսպասեր ինչեւ որ ինքը մերեր է հատ մեկ նգար ունի աղջիկներուն դվեր է մամայիս մորքուրներուն որ բահեցեք աս նգարը and they put some pins and they make photo again շատ հին նգար է բահեր եմ ես իր uniform-ով I have these two stories, but բայց շատ բաներ գիտեմ ես չարտի մասին, քանի որ ես Հալեբը հոմենտմենական քայլիկ եղել էի, դո սկաուտ եղա, I have too much activities. Բաբաս բաներ շատ հեղափոխական մարդ էր. When he married my mom, he have gone something. Adank ինձ ալակ մեծուց Mamas ավելի բաներ ուսուցչուի էր ավելի հայկական բաները բահող այդպես ես ձնա այդպես դաստիարակվեց այրենց մեջ է so Սուրիա այդ activity-ներուն գերցայի շատ
Առաջ մեկ հարցում ունի գիտեք ինչպես է Թալեբ կամ Մոսուլ կամ ուրիշտեղ ինչպես նոր ու մեծ հայերը ինչպես նոր կյանք
Oh yeah, okay.
Starting, yeah.
Okay, իմ դադես, որը 7 տարեկաններ եւ նանես, որ եղբայր ունի, իրենք նորեն բանի չարտի ադեններ իրար դեսեր են, so ճուրեն մյուս կոմբի դանցնին, իսկ դղակը սերվիս կնեն որ ժողովուրդին, նանես սերը որ թուրք զինվորները բիտքան, yəni ես երդասարդ աղջիկ եմ ինձի փամը գնեն ինձի մյուս կողման ցուր դադաս դեսերը իրեն he fall in love շատ անշիկ է ինձի գարնես կանցլեմ քեզ եթե ոչ հոսպիտալ կեմ so they married like that and my mom they are 4 sisters հետո abreren hon he have a gun and he's fedai dghair միութենական որ միությունը gun chain ասինչ դե ասինչ բանը գա so he go he make like at Talyat Pashain Mercnova Solomon Tehlilia he's something like that before marriage
Did he fight in
this is Ինչու կարծես որ գարե որևէ չարթի բացությունները հիշենք եւ նորեն բացնենք
because this is our history and if we don't keep our history anybody on the world if he don't have the past you don't have future so we know that we live in Arabic countries some countries they don't have anything if you ask what is your history they don't have book they don't have something but we have too much about the genocide and I think what I know my information that we are the oldest Christian people as an Armenian that's why we have too much historic more than the world
Could you mention the names of just for history's sake the names of your father and grandfather and the people
yeah I can give հիմա դադայիս մամային անունը չեմ գիտեր ադի ինչ որ ինձ կմերցուցեր է դադայիս անունը Սարգիս է Կասարջյան են իրենք and Nenes Bayzar I don't know what the family name and իրեն եղբայրը որ չարտիկացեր է զինվորը գարձեմ Վարդան Չախբազ անակ բամեն է and my father's name Աղաջան Suryayan and my mother Vartanush
հիմա կոմամբուչան մասին կխոսենք գնանք երկուքնալ քիչը բացատրել ինչպես է մամբուչունը ծրոց ընտանիքը ադոմներ եկեղեցի այդպես ինչերի
ha yes So my father is working in Syria. He lost his father and mother when he's a small and he's a lone boy. When he grow up, Yerdasarter, Arantin Gabret, Jvargyan Kuner. So mama is baban arten hon mererer, mama naledo merav, kuirera musnatsan inknal manatsaransi. I don't know how they meet each other and when they ask yes, Megichunim. Yes, I'm Megichunim. Okay, let's marry it. So we will have life together. Amusnatsan, I think, make senyagimet. Make a carpet here, one bed like this. Hedo ashkaderen, hard life, what I know, and they don't have kids 7 years.
Do you know what jobs they did?
No, that is different story also. When they married. That time I think Syrian government they have some rules for the people. I think այնադեն բաներ գարա ասենք բաբաս բաներ տաշնակցական էր ինքը շատ բան ու այնադեն անոնց կփռնեին որ մեծ the big head top people կփռնեին որ գարաբարությունը so որբեսի չմեզնան ու այդպես բաներ չնեն լիփանանի պես չլա ասալա մասալա եւ այլն so բաբայիս marriage օրը եկերեն pan like FBI something tour ով է հոս աղաջանը ես եմ ասել քալե հետերնս but I will marry it today and he's shaving and the people is there like this so ասել քալե մեր հետը հիմա ադի կարևոր չէ maybe you will not come and then mama is lurde veren mama slalus ksere եկեղեցին ամեն մարդ կսպասեն որ in the same day այսինքն այսօր քիշերը բսակրին է իրեն գուքան գփռնեն դունեն գդանին որ so he afraid too much and they take աչքերը կոց դեր մդարերեն ու հոն փածերեն հարցումներ արծեն իրեն ընկերներուն նգարները we know them like this too much things, so he afraid too much and ծծուցերեն իրեն ինչ կրնան ընել այսինքն հա փամը գա որ ասպես chain գտնեն when you press the button poof, and you will die already electric something. And then in that time he's working in a school as a school bus driver. At the schoolin badasxanadunere panen մայրաբետներ են, Catholic Vatican են, so adonk լսերեն հերացայներ են government-ի, որ ասիկա շատ լավ մարդ է, մեր կով գաշխատի, մեր ամեն աղջիկները իրեն օտոբուսով գետանքան, and he will marry her today, please let him go, and he will come back tomorrow. So բայսիսեր են կնա ամուսնացի, վաղ արդու ժամ 8-ին ոս կլաս. And he don't know what it will happen second day, he don't want to take my mom. Maybe he will die next day. So she will be alone. For what? For one day. And no, mama sasere impact se asi es que zanotata. We are alone together. Let happen what it will happen. Երկրորդ օրը կացերը բաբասատ նույն building-ը, որ իրեն ցկեցին, այդտեղը security գա, ասերը որ you are very lucky man because this early morning they changed the office. They are not here. So you can go. It's like a dream, you know, it's fiction is fun, but it's like that.
Wow.
So he come back, but at reflection that's why 7 years they don't have kids. And after 7 years, they make too much things, hospitals, doctors, they pray, I don't know what, or whoever tells something about the kids, they are doing that. And after 7 years, I came. And then the doctor said for my mom, next time you have a danger if you be pregnant. Maybe you will die or the baby. So she said 7 years I wait, the God give me one. It's enough for me, I don't want the next one. I'm very nervous when I'm born and shut me harei. They take care to me too much and shot hokneren more in the medicine. Too much medicine, doctors, I don't know what. Por metza arten Kylie Guccian gets I homens many Jambarner Katserem shot Kesap Hedo Scout Ira, but as Hardu, and then Semagan Mada Kichma Hedo Lipanan Katsi. When I was 15, 18, something like that. Հայկական դբրոց կացերեմ, ամեն ինչ ագումբ եկեղեցի շատ կսիրեմ. And then Սուրիա չի սիրելու սկսա. Քաղաքի ապրիլը, փանը, արաբ ժողովուրդը. I have different mind when I'm small, I don't know. I'm Western, too much. And open mind. Always when I'm small, I'm thinking it's not my place. Maybe God give in wrong family or place for me. Always I have that story. Uzeti Lipanan ertam. That is the nearest European life country. That's why I go there. 15, 18, something like that between. Katzihon, Apretza, Ashkadetza, Otoari. Then I have a girlfriend. Then my mom too much send me messages. Yegur, please make the guys Chemgarnari Saransin Abril. See, mom, I don't like to be there. Chemgarnar Gor Abril and said, Agdot microbe jogurten, you come here. And then they come. We live there. Little bit what they make to me. And then I make it little 10 years. Năstan love na etzairens, chashkhadetzan, yes love gashkhadei, shat love derer haserei arten. Bzdigeine otoi body paneridzi babasketner because I like cars too much.
You've ported auto head?
In that time.
Okay.
But when I come to Lebanon, I change it because I start to follow fashion, moda, I don't know what, music, so I work in shoes shop and then kids clothes, um, brands, big brands. I don't want to give the name now. And then had a jewelry shop, watch shop, diamond, gold at Panero. We have megal sportswear, casual anak Panero ashkhadetsa. Then my mother, she got sickness, heart something. Iren Surya pairing because they're too much expensive. Hospitals, doctors, I don't know what. We put around $1,000 on Zachsetiren Vran, Aveli Betker, make million chap Betker heart operation. And normal Surya pairing. Then after 10 days she died in 92. Yeah. And after that, everything for me it's become more than 180, 360 degrees because I like my mom too much. She is the 99% of my heart. Yeah. And then start the hard life to me. Baba said kichik problem nerunaing because we are two men in the home. There is no ladies. So we start to fight little something. And then he let me go out from the home. Then I go to my friends like this in the car. And Surya Lipanan yet Tartsakich Medo Yetega Surya Arantin Tishvare Abril, it's expensive life there. Hedo Inknal Mera. After 2 years, 94, he died also. But I take care for him. And he's surprised. He said, I don't know. I cannot imagine that all of the things what I do for you, bad things, that now you are carrying me. Then I said, because of my mom, you are my father. So what I can do? You are bad as a man with me, but as a father, you are my father. I cannot change that. That's why I make what I must to make, and he died. And then I take little bit freedom. So I'm alone and I'm young. I do what I must to do in my life. And then I try to go to US. I want to sell everything and take visa and go there because I have cousins there. They cannot take me because we don't have same family name. But they said, if you come, we can take care of you. But I cannot. I tried 4 or 5 times. In the end, they put the red stamp. Go. No way to come. Yes. And then Hedo Eva in Zanotata. In bad circle. Shad kesh vijak neru meche aina dena. Amentram neres katseres. Mian pan barap empty home. Mian chos badunei. And then she saw me. Then she's the one, she take the first step. I like you, I want to, I don't know what. I said, I have bad life, I don't have future, I don't have anything. Also the ring, I don't have money to buy for you. If you want, okay. And then because I want to make blog, merke, I think too much things will make upside down. So I'm putting pans. Tujbar paner gets a number or it hair weirta. Chemger nartram chunim adang pane. No, sap yes, Kusem, Vanashun, yes, or I'm getting a distinct chorats to them. So I remember my family's life. It's something same.
Yeah.
Then that day I pray for God and I'm crying. And I said, everything in my life, it's hard. I must to betke char vinvor Allah. Why like that? And now I think yes, indeed, okay, I'm young. I can eat anything, sleep anywhere. But there's a responsibility when you take somebody, especially lady, you will have kids. I'm not ready for that. Fights inka guzergor.
Himatun guzes kichme
Հա, հիմա տուն ես հասա որ մենք իրարու ծանոթացա։ Հիմա տուն խոսիլ տու մասի։
Ես կվեծն եմ, բայց ասեմ առաջ մամաս մայրապետի։ Հետո when this one she's in the Marabed house, she got sick because I don't know what is the sick what she has, but I know that the doctor they said for the papa that he has to make like accept that she can live her life. Okay. So what she will do? She went to her family in Iraq. And this time she feels sorry because she like her Mara the tuna covering Kayabor vets dari. Micheb in Kay Karasun vets nunta. Yelav as Marapede Vasun Uta. Yelav and Kani dari in Kihone. Եվ արդեն իր բաբան and the left գսենք որ չեմ ադիվոր մենք
Ժամգոց եկեղեցի ժամգոց է որ զանգը գզարնե սերվիս կնե եկեղեցին ադան
բայց ինքը նորեն բանը գուտա Հիսուսի բան
հաղորդությունը
ուրեմն մորկուրս ինքը իրենց երեք աղջիկ մայրս եւ երկու մորկուր մեկ մորկուր հոստեղի պամ ազվոր զուպի ին պանին կխաղագոր ինքը դպրոցինեց ինչպես ինգավ եւ որ ինգավ պամ մեղավորս պետք է կորզողություն ուր աս կորզողություն քույտ մամաս եւ մորկուրս եւ մոյս մորկուրը որ մեկի մակերմանիա կացին բոլորին քույտ որ կորզողություն դնե եւ որ գետ բիթի յետան մամաս Սավոր չկամ նորեն, կուետ բիտնունամ։ Ես պանունիմ սերտիվիկետ, ես գրնամ աշխատիմ օրյոտի պանը անգլերեն, ու հոնդերեն սկսավ մամայիս պանը կյանքը, որ կուետ մնաց, հոնդերեն…
Արդեն մայրաբեդուչանը ծկեց?
Ծկեց։
When she married with my
Then she said she was have a rent house. In this house there is people they know my dad.
But sorry, tell them that your grandfather he's very pan yegeletsagan marte always Bible in his hand.
Yeah, he's
and
very,
he makes service in the church. And always the times he know which time there is a church he must
he's
go
very
like that.
nice man. And she has also my mother. She has two brothers. One he did in the war between Iraq and this one Iran, and the other he did when his daughter fell down from the car.
We have two educated grandfathers,
and
but the grandmothers they don't know ABC also. In Imal,
okay, now this my in Keris thinking yergu dari verch cover amena iron pam some tun
Tunavor WhatsApp.
ha cover pan amena chigare panegaf iren akhchig iren timat mahatsaf inke pan tibrosen ingere for yes arachin
But if mus carried
Muskerin, ha,
Mekkerin Irak İrani baderazmi.
Ha, adipam.
Fan
Ha, yere khachuni, asipam.
He's in army.
Verce, pane, koet katsin, mamais, baban pane as pargamun dune desan, mama sana khavnetsa babas kan.
Same our story.
Shat khavnetsa, babas sabes yani. ها يعني أنيم أخبار كوريك بس بصدق بانه يعني أرانسين كسكام قول بوزازين زي أمسنانات ما نصافها ميكاني شبات مداني تربيتا ونشان بلو هيتم فيتس أميس أمسنات سانتين إن 1972 թվական ամուսնացան, ես 73 գա։ Հետո 4 տարի մնացի առանց աղբար բանը, բայց անանգ անի, իրենց ասին, որ քիչ մեր տո աշխատին հետո անի, հետո աղբար և կուրիկ ունեցա։
Եվ կյանքդ Քուվեյթի մեջ ինչպես է։
Լավ է, հոնդեղեն ռիչ քաղաքը, բայց ես չեմ սրել Քուվեյթը, ասեմ քեզի, միշտական և որ մամաս և բաբաս Սուրիա բդի ետան, ես գուլամ գոր չեմ ուզել ետ կամ Քուվեյթ, չեմ գիտել ինչու համար, բայց իսլամական քաղաք չեմ սրել ես, գիծան, ադար համար և որ ամուսնացա, բայց լավ է, ես ալպան և որ Քուվեյթ և Իրաք բան եղա, ես հոնն էի, շուբի ուլու դավրը, կորս, կա որ ես 17-րդ բդի լամ, աս ամարին ես բանը կորս արի, որ ավելի զորավոր եմ։ Այն օրը ես կեժեմ շատ ավորը, բարգեր էի, արտակուրտ է, ու մեկ անգամ դեսա, որ մեր սպասուհին ինձի Էվա, անանք ասեկոտ, գելիր շուտ, ասան վախցուս ինձի, ինչ գա, սա վեգու նայր շատ բանը գա, օտանավ, չեմ գիտեր ինչ, ու բաները կշնեգոր վեգու նայր, վախցա ես, բաբաս իմ հետս այն օրը, մամաս և ամոս, մամաս և մորքոր, sorry, արերը բաբաս և ամո, երկու կուր, երկու աղբար։
2 brothers, they take 2 sisters.
Հիմա մամաս և ամոս Սուրիա կացեր են, ես և բաբաս Քուվեյթ մնասեր են մորքորիս հետ են, իրենց դունը։ Ու բաբաս կացերը կորզի, ես արանցի մնասեր եմ, ու ասպանը կսկսա որ կա, բանը բոմերը, չեմ գիտել ինչու, ես սեղանին դակ մնացի ու անանգրի, շատ վախցա։ Նույն օրը չեմ գիտել մի քանի օր վերջ, բաբաս ասավ, որ պիտի երտանք Սուրիա, անանք ես չեմ գնամ չեղերից վրան ասանք, մորքուրս կանը որ մնաց ինչու կանը որ իմ ամոս սուտի ֆիրմատ ունի։ Շատ մեծ է, շատ խանութներ, բիչիսը կեբի, պան հետո ամեն պի կողնան, հոմ մնաց։ Մեր պարգեներ ունոնի կա շատ, հոմ մնաց, մենք Սուրիա կացինք։ Az Suriyan mütep hasbing Iraq panyarank. Then we can.
Vërgjishtem kanit hajret araç Suriyener. Maj pajze majret Irakçiye.
Հետո պանեանք եւ որ մենք Իրաք պիտի անցնենք, որ Սուրիա երտանք, ավելի մոտիկան, որ Սաուդիան որը շատ խիստ են ու խաչերը պանը գտոկեն, պանը սվախցա։ Էսի Իրաք երտանք կոնե մորքորս դեսնենք, հետո պանը անցնենք։ Կացինք Իրաք, մնացի Գարզեմ թե 10 օր, 15 օր հոն է, հետո խոսեցանք իմ մայրս Սուրիա, որ մենք ուկանգոր ասանք պան եղամ, ու դեսա իմ կերիս աղջիկներեն ես տանգորնանք, ես չեմ կիրել ինչ պիտի լավ, վախցա շատ, այն օրեմ մայրս բապ հոյր, դա on life, he's not dead, now they are dead. So he said for us stay until we will see how we can make you go outside. My auntie's husband, you know Saddam Hussein. There is one man under his this one. His name Adnan Khairallah. This Adnan Khairallah Christian. He's my this one. My auntie husband Morkur Dagha.
Oh, wow. Zadikian.
Yeah. So they said I will do something to arrange that you will go by. I don't know how they are going, but we went very long this one ways. Then we became Syria.
Meg, je voor Kuwait seket, te zware Irak yetal,
Chi, carnivores, make an then panachi pocheting. as otoin tivere chimkider inch. O gazing pachank an ore bas kanvor in Myres Iraksie. Babas tucht mama yani mamas tucht verges vor inke gintuni vor inzi baba narne vor Irak. Ein ore kitsen vor yes Myres Iraksie. Upam chirin mezi. Medan Irak minasin keton Suriya kazim.
Je hebt voor Surya
Hasan pam chira normal.
volgende dag.
Normal.
Oh,
Oto
Japan,
inut.
okay.
Normale urish oto kazim u yegan.
Okay.
Hima ein ore
In şu zeyn word martyr Irak te kennen.
chilla.
Men
Ein ore min pana kazim in sun michevin sun hing minasin Suriye.
Araçinan kamners Surya.
Menalu araçina. Հետո սպաների, ես սորվեցա հոն 11-ին և 12-րդին հոների, շատ դժվարից եկավ, քանի որ մայրս հետքու հետ գնաց, բանի մեջ, որի մեջ է, բանը ես առանցին մնացի, քուրգիս և աղբարիս հետ, չեմ գիտեր ինչ պիտի լա։ Si մայրս հետ հետուն չեկար, մինչև նոր դարի, ես ինձի պիտի մերցենեմ։ Gam gugas, gam meski memnun.
Surya gam Kuwait.
Inge Kuwait'e, bitika Surya, vor abri medes. I told her that I will kill myself, and you are the one who is responsible. Come, or you will come and be with me. I cannot alone. Yeah, my auntie, she was with me, but the auntie is not like mom. So she came. In 23, I said until 25, the Christmas, if you didn't come, you will know that I'm dead, finished for me. She in 23 December came. And I know on that day, my cousin, he went to marriage. This one engaged. Because we have party that day, and she don't know that her father is dead.
Kumayrin.
Myres, she didn't know that her hoir merere, mingchising.
Yerp merak.
Inke das nehing or merere. Bas borchi vaxna jampon pamuchila eren, ising toch kahala edo gising kamas bas anak jampan lavche yani eren hamar. Nişanlıkın oraya der hayra çiki de verming çen saz orasanga kenat sabor ha digeming ku babait karasum ke bidin ani bes yav şok inç sir anak pane yani ming sksan skalu vor pam yav kava mamas ksav lalu सब आदि मेरे को मैं सब मामाइट वो रेन बाबा में हाथ से रे मम्मास चिकेस पार्टी नमन इंच के ना सालोन बिकट संग बिस्दिक सालोन में पार्टी को बहुत ही ये स्पामो उसके साथ लालो इंचू टीम के दे इंच वो अनंग गया है तो मनासी अशकदात सा हम बेरन सुजाइन का वो प्रॉब्लम में गाफिंसी physically pane digo in hoke ganes pane gab nervere u zetsi vor das negrote verchatene miche verchana as khentire skasa vor dentis do kov ashkhadim hin dari ashkhadarin het shat lave vor akhem shat pane resor vetsa inch bes pane as vor men gitenen gor agrain meche हाँ तेरे हाँ पामो वो में कितने गोरिया बोल दुकोरे ने तो पामो कितने जिप्सी बेस पामो बोल में ना सोचें हाँ अस्पानेर ये गेशन इन विशेष पियानो ने विक्टोरिया शायद गदा के नाम किसी में वो विक्टोरिया सेक्रेट شاد قصيرين يبقى هاركين إنك مسكوي جنزيانو I'm أورا و gets up in head shot كابر shot problem is يجا in كروخس فران مارترون in براس خاصة shot بانري غامبور ألبس تشيجر تابر بس ماكلرين بور in problem, my problem, I didn't face it alone because it was so long. It's by my name, it's hard, we are girl and you know what I mean. That I'm bad girl, I'm not good girl, I'm like this, like too much things came in my head. And this time finished, the life is finished from me and I want to marry anyone who is coming in my face in front of me, I will take. In this time, before Ashoug, one person I talked with him, and in the last day we want to make this one. No, we want to go party to say bye bye. Some very near person to me, she was sleep with him. I don't want to imagine this one, but I removed this one ring and I said that I cannot with you. Already we are going in Kuwait. In 96, I came back to Syria.
When Noren Kuwait Katsir?
Yeah, 95, I went to this one Kuwait. Then 96 again came, 1 year only. I came back to Syria. I see Ashoug.
Sad love.
But then we also have faced too much problem in our engage because I want him to come for Kuwait. Nothing Kuwait. They are something problem in Kuwait and Syria. The Syria people they are not have any allowed to go for Kuwait. I don't know why. Anyway, in 97, Ashoug came in Kuwait by visit card to my birthday. In that time, we spent here.
So in Kuwait Gabriel?
Until that time, I'm in Kuwait.
Border in
Until 97, like this.
So
Because,
Syria Kuwait? Syria Kuwait.
Okay, then we go for this one. I tell him, come see, this is Kuwait. Don't think that it's very wow things. Because if your paper will not happen, that maybe you think that I don't want to make it or like this. And we go how many person to see that really his paper is his name on blacklist that cannot come to it. Because how many times I try, it come like America, we say. Then I went for Syria. In 98, I come back Syria to marriage.
Yes, I make her to monim. Je voor Kuwait Gabriel, je voor Bestiger, hij gaat gaan te brood.
Chikati. Inchi amamas araba khosre. و der hayre hunde rachido der hayre yeb mekad as dande. Isim voridetun araba khoses. وغوز دغن بانجا أمنا هايرين أو كوبستيكنير بتسولفتينه بتكابا بال بتسولفتينه چنلار إنكا أوريوتا يب كاني بروهم دغن as ministry if somebody man or woman working as a teacher he can put one of kids in the ministry by free. Okay, now my sister and brother they are not in the ministry school, not like me. Okay, so what happened? I am the one who stay in this school because already I'm the biggest from my sister and brother. I didn't know Armenian. Then I was 10 years old. No, 7 years old. There is one woman. She's my mama. I tell her Mama Mary. Until now, she's in Kuwait. She's the one who teach us Armenian. And I like Armenian. I don't know why. In my soul, in my heart, Armenian is the big things.
Yeah.
When she start to teach me, I really love Armenian. And only I listen. I didn't come Armenia only in 2014 and 2016 when I came here. Okay, so I listen Armenia, but I didn't see Armenia. I didn't know anything about Armenia.
Yeah.
But I know we are Armenian people. I have Zadikian, Armenian Maganun, just. And even in the house, we are talking Arabic, English. That's it.
Yeah.
Even my mom, she's Kildan. In Iraq, there's Kildan, Ashur, I like these things.
Oh, Chaldean.
Okay,
Yeah.
I didn't learn about their. She didn't teach us their this one
Is your mom
language.
also half Armenian? Only
No.
Oh, just
No, no.
Khaldan.
Yeah, Kildan. So she didn't. Why I tell you she didn't like to teach us because she's and her sister was they want to say something secret.
Yeah.
Nobody know about. That's
Did you also do a lot of activities or things related to Khaldan culture, religion?
No. Kildan is Christian.
But did you go to Armenian church, Chaldean church?
Me, Armenian church.
Armenian,
Yeah. But before Catholic church, before I know Ashoug Catholic church in Kuwait. Then when this one merged with the Ashoug, I go Armenian church.
Yeah. And you yourself, you're Armenian, Chaldean, Kuwaiti, Iraqi, Syrian.
Everything.
How do you identify? How do you identify? Or
I'm Armenian.
mm-hmm.
Okay, but my mom she's Iraqi, my father is Syria, Armenia, I think. Yes, Kuwaiti mit Avretzayev هون زنا وبزجنير سال هون زنتوتي كان يبور يس أمسناتزا إما مسنس هذا مقداري هم مناسي هدو هريغا كويت كاتي. I was pregnant when I go for Kuwait, but it's full down for me because I went for by plane. I'd say it's not allowed to go, but because I want my resident to not full, and my resident in Kuwait, every 6 months you have before 6 months you have to renew your resident, then you come back. Even if you stay 2 days, but at least you go before your this one finish.
Okay.
So I don't want, not me actually. My mother and father they don't want me to lose my resident because it's very hard to make another resident. So I went there and I lose my baby. And I said to my husband to come Kuwait, to visit Kuwait. In this time, how many, in 2 years, I was do my best. I make my best to make my husband paper to come Kuwait, nothing. But my neighbor, because I take care for her, this one son, and she like me, her husband is very big person in ministry and like that, and he has a healthy ministry responsibility there. He helped me to make this one resident for my husband in Kuwait, and he came in Kuwait, but we didn't Porseting shot Chiraf, Noren Syria cutting. Noren I Noren Kishmenistan Noren Egan Kuwait. Ashkhada, Mother Care, VHS, Body Shop, Yerek Dari, Yet Bamegab Anore Yego Hazar Chores, Dras Yegav. before my son coming, I lose another one 7 months. I was in a body shop working as a saleswoman. In this time, you know, they give basket too much like this to put the product, the small. I tell for the person to help me. It's very sadness. This one he didn't help, and I lose the baby. I went to the hospital, got a month. I was preparing everything. I went to hospital, this one to the market to bring the bed, everything. When I went, in that time, there is pain came for me. 10 days I just feel pain. I don't know what is the pain. I think maybe from the war, from I don't know what. Then when I went for doctor, she said for me you have to go for the hospital. When I went, the doctor he said for me, I'm sorry, how you, when you feel that you have pain? I said 10 days I feel pain. You know, I said, you are very lucky that you are not dead. 10 days your son in your stomach is dead and you don't know. Maybe you will die, you know. I said, what? It's come shock for me. He said, you will not go out of the hospital. Then they give me drug. And this one, I don't know what, to bring the baby normally. I was very sad. I don't know what in that day I can say. Yani, very hard. Yot amis tung spaces, there make a come chiga. Hedo, yes, kesi courts, who complain iri asmart complain iri, you have receiver in Anangaravanzi, who are tending to Christianai panerav highways. Hedo, ever see panherim chimkernar and case up for incident to Christianai, save as panin, mere company in her chesla, comes in it, Kina Tuesday. Yes, complain adovran yela ten pan ri vechata o aritramner spatsi yela yergo 1004 imdasiga hedo achtbes o bas vechata baten kordes ban korsun susi o yet noren surya kasin kanvor im amusinis dera noren pan problem megavor Turs biliyordan Surya kaçın Noren as badaraz meğav şatkeş badaraz meğav
Yerpes
Jordan
Yerper badarazmen eskasab inşer
Menk ein oren latakia kisa kaçeren anang pam chiga Che, alang like tourist.
Oh, okay.
Alang.
But doing it Haleb.
Haleb, ha. Casting dune yegrot or tak çünkü bana ya şad vaktan. O bizignes bana skizam vor bana lalu. Ençer to galu. Gez kişere as Allahu Akbar bana gilla govor bana gahoten çimginç besmin kise der asvas mezi okne asoren bana kisen men bana gilla gor şat geçmeyecek as oraya çemborna o martere bana eskisam var vazelu çemkire oraydan çemkire hedi gıtsikatsın هندگان کچ مپان هم کس درین پان بس
Hangi menar?
ها کچ مهم بنسیم
Hayka kan ne getirsin?
چهم کیه مرتماتین میکردی که کاتین کنه همون اوورگا هم کنات میگم ارن مکرین دکانه کاسری میگم چون که بس اوورگا نه هم کنات کابون میگه وار پامگا وار پاملانه گباه بدین هدو اسکسا ورن دستنگ ور martere, începește să se închezi. Orinak înzi, Enzim garnen bana gizahe marteru.
Oh, I have hospital.
Güzel. İnce taştır.
Whatever, amos natsan kon manatsink mekdari, and then we try. I try to go to Bahrain to work some months, but I cannot take her. And then I come back. Then I heard it will be something. We try to go Dubai
Could be
together.
something like a problem? Or
Yeah.
In Syria.
Because I have friends there. And then we go to Dubai to work again. How many months? And it's not okay. I don't know. It's not hard life. It's like Kuwait, but it's expensive. Too much to buy. For tourists is good, but to live there, no. And then she's pregnant and she lost baby 2 times. And then her family said, come here, we will make some work. But I have a home there. So all of these countries, we go and come back Syria, and we come back Syria, like that. So we heard something will happen, and then we are in the middle already. We don't know will start, and we are there. It start. That's why she lost 2 babies. And some things start to happen, and then we go to Kuwait to start there. The papers is not finished. We must to go back, and then visa betkenen, or we come back as a not tourist. So we go there and we cannot come back
Go to Syria and you couldn't
because
go back.
start the problem there. We cannot go out. And then too much problems every day, bombs, no electric, no water, no food. You cannot go out from the building. Panga, Shenkeun Vran, Gannas Nergan. Chup. Arten Martika Cheski der. So you cannot go out. Whatever you have, you must to sit there. And too much things happened, and every day we heard something our neighbors happened. Somebody died, the kids died, the woman they kidnapped. They start to take small girls like Maral, and they sell it with money for marriage. And then like these ladies, they take it as a housemaid, but they are selling again with money. So you can take it, and whatever you want to do. It's for you. You buy it for money. And then like me, man's I think were Panchen, old Chen, Zeruk Chen, were Gernas Vodkerut Vragen al Sharjil, they take it.
Who's the
This Daesh, I don't know, not the government. The government, our fathers, they are there, we born there. Shad love Abrenik Mengsuriya image. They respect the Christian people. We have church, we make the Easter and Christmas, and we have schools. Everybody, girls, they wear whatever what they want. Giner, pan, garch, pat, amman kakni. And pan Christianere, amman on the Sunday, they take the weekend, koten khanutnere, any pan chigav or press chigav or Friday or whatever. Adamche, government is very good. But that people, they want to make another government in Middle East as a Muhammad time. Ta pan at Stony panerun bidertan, century nerun. Ինչ որ է շատ բաներ եղավ բզդիկ տղան իրեն բես ոչ բզդիկ young guys գարնեն brainwash կնեն guns գուդան անանք բաները շատ եկեղեցիները at դեղը որ իրենց շրջանի մեջ եկեղեցիկը առաջին անգամ խաչը կգդրեն հետո ներսի բաները արցանները Jesus pictures, Mother Mary, I don't know what, Gvaren, Anak Paner Ganen. Keresmanere, cemetery, what do you want from the cemetery? They broke the cross and whatever. Too much things they do, too much things. You cannot imagine.
Yeah.
Like we are in 21st century, these things will happen. It's old, no? Tsierov, Mierov, this is what will happen. But now, you cannot imagine these things will happen.
Jak komentář voor Surya Betkas?
Yes, I don't like, anyway, I don't like Syria from the beginning. Always my eyes is out. That's why too much I go and I come. But she when we married, she said, I will live here.
Yeah.
And then I said, yes, chem Syria, yes, kuzengor tu selem. Utun Kuwait kabris, yertan kohon avela ve no hosavore tega khat chigaye geretznem vran. They don't have too much church, too much. We have one church there, one school there. It's limited. Kich hayutunga. And Iran's ruler aveli pane kichma khechtevadze, I think panove shat presove. So when we got the chance, I don't know which time that, after many years when we married, she lost babies, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 years, something. Then we go to Kuwait. Every time. Every time. If I got the chance, in any minute I want to run.
And how did you finally leave?
We wait. They make the family their papers, and we don't have communication. You must wait internet, I don't know what to talk, and when you receive some papers from there, the airport is closed, nobody coming and going. Shut. Kuwait, this is our chance, or Lebanon, because I live there. Dubai, Bahrain, we try it already, we cannot. Then Iran, Bashkastan, yes. I don't want to go pan-Arabic countries. Pan-Eval, enough. Already I don't like them. And she don't like also. In Kuwait also there is at Parnashatka pressure. Then we got some papers from there, and we try to do in Syria that visa, everything, and Shat Garavaragan de Gergavor Arten Bomb Pan Kantavere. So where we can do this one, there is temporary some places. We finish everything, then we go from there to Lebanon, because there's no airport.
Yeah.
With bus, Jampan, Merdunen, Taxio, Vielang, and we leave everything there. Just we take some clothes and Garevor Paner Tutere Vaina. Taxio, Kishero, Vielang, Kani der Mezigetutzin, and different places, different people. So you must to tell different story for this and different story for that, and she make too much things to be ugly because she have green eyes, I don't know what, and these people they catch like these things, they don't have. That's why Kisherov Pan Ansang Kasten Andre, no, we like you, we are in your side and your side, and until we go out from our city, and then we take autobus aring tebi sahmanen yet pan kawake ashkado transport pan lipanan hasang lipanan alunim zanot paregamner kichmonal porteting. They tell for us you can make your names and they will take Canada, I don't know what. But we have some papers, bagas tuhterumeik, for it's not with us, so we cannot. Edo kating otanam of Kuwait, Arten and Dani Kapanere in Mezikiketia Viner. Then this guy was born and after that yes եւ ինքը աշխատեցանք քիչմը, we make new life there little bit, and երբ Ջանիկը ծնավ ինքը արդեն նստավ բզդիգին նայելու, ես աշխատեցա
Asi պատերազմի ադենն է։
հա yani պատերազմին ատեններ no
Best.
I don't know the բանը Թվականները շատ իրար անցուցեր են
Երբ Հայաստան եկա։
I'm talking as our life
Yeah,
what
yeah,
happened
Iran.
Հայաստան Իրանեն եկանք
Իրան որտեղ են եկա։
Դորեն Սուրիայեն Դորեն Սուրիայեն
Սուրիան
Քուվեյթ եկանք աշխատեցանք դուն պաներինք օթո արինք Ջանիկ ձներ էր արդեն հոն ծնավ ինքը
վերջին օրը
Հետո նորեն Սուրիա կացինք լավ է սին ոչ թե վերջացավ that area լավ է քիչմը մեր շրջանները so ասինք իշնենք նայենք ինչ կրնանք աբրանքները բերենք դունը ծախենք բամը անենք and then իջանք արդեն ինքը մալգին pregnant էր գարցեմ թե հատա ներերը եդ ինքը Քուվեյթ գնաց Ջանի գնալ հոնցը կերեինք նանեինք ովը հետո ես փորձեցի որ բաներ մնեմ դունը չգրծած ձախել ոչ մեկ բան միան քիչմը հակուսներ պետք եղած բաները արի and then ինքը սավ ետ եգուր չգրծա երթալ ուրիշ էրիակացի մեր կազններն դունը մնացի հետո նորեն Քուվեյթ կացինք Մայլ գծնավ անգևերջադի հոն տպրոց կնած հետո I don't know that all is mixed things and you know in our life that like A4 you make like this and you throw it you don't want to
So որտեղի Հայաստան եկա։
հետո ասեմ քեզի Քուվեյթեն վերջը No, 16-ին սկիզբն է, beginning of 16.
And what made you want to what made you want to come to Armenia?
We try from there Kuwait to go to Germany. Իրեն մորքուրը Գերմանիա է, սա բոր ինչ կնեք գորհոն, այսինքն Evan ճուզեր գորհոն ապրիլ, ինձի համարալ my lifestyle is different. Syria, Lebanon, I don't know what freedom Այդտեղ շատ կոց է, ամեն ինչ չես կնար հակնիլ, բան չգա, հետո այդտեղ ժողովուրդը որ դեսնեն տուն օդար ես, Քուվեյթի չես, չէ Քուվեյթ, բան գնեն քեզի, այսինքն you are different person, հարկանք չի գա, բան չի գա, անանք բաներ, սավ եկեք հոս, Գերմանիա, but we cannot, as a Syrian we cannot, շատ բաներ դժվարություններ գար հետո ես եւ Էվան եկանք հոս 2000 No 14-ին we come here we leave the kids there with grandmother to take passport to take passport nationality to go to Europe from there because we don't have another chance everywhere is closed and when we come back here Desank առաջին անգամն էր Հայաստան ինձ համար different feeling մեր քաղաքն է բան ժողովուրդը Էվան airport որ իջանք սա որ գիտես toilet lady she's speaking Armenian I said of course they will speak Armenian we are in Armenia because there in different places no there is a Sri Lanka and Indian and I don't know what that security cleaner So anank paner եկանք 10 օր միան մնացինք passport-ները հանեցինք բզիկներուն ամարացուցինք սա որ հոնդեղեն embassy են գրնասնել հոնկացինք թիմեցինք very fast to go արինք բան հետո մեզի այդտեղեն ասին որ հայկական passport-ով ալ չեք կրնալ պետք է սուրիականով լա որ Եվրոպա մտնեք եթե հայկականով կաք ցեզի բիցեն դուք Հայաստանցի եք ձեր քաղաք բամը չի գա go back to your country And then I nervous too much. I said, Eva, God have something for us. He's blocking Europe, he's blocking Syria, Lebanon, Arab countries. Also here, it's nice country, Kuwait. But we cannot live. So there is something. So what we can do? Վերջում մտածեցինք, որ քանի որ մենք ունենք հայկական passport, երթանք Հայաստան ապրինք, it's yani մեր choice-ներ, որ մենք ընդրեցինք կալ։
Asi 16.
16-ին, հա։ Այդտեղ բզիկներուն դբրոցին, բաները, թուղթերը, մինչև պատրաստեմ, too much things upside down.
When you came to Armenia, did anyone help you? Gazma gerbuchuner, gerbuchuner.
Okay, when we come Armenia, already we come to live here. So we try to make our best because this is our choice. We come to live here. But when we come tourist, it's different than the real life. And when we come new, first from the airport to our cousin house, we shock already. Իրենք մեզի ուրիշ տեսակ թիմավորեցին, and then we shock too much rules about the government, and then we try to do something. We don't find job. This is the first important point when you come new life, new country. She have educated. She work with lawyer, engineer, doctor, office secretary, sales lady. I have some certificates. I have 25 years experience as a salesman, as a manager, area manager, store manager in the big companies like Cartier, Alvaro Martini, I don't know what, big things. We didn't find. They want Armenian here, and then they want Russian. But we have English, different. I don't care. They said, we have certificate. I don't care. And they want small people. And then a small, 25, 30, yerdasar. Then man come yes, pani manager met Jose Igor Shugai. See for that small young guy when you bring, he can only talk with his girlfriend. What he will make for you? You are taking manager, not sales boy. Manager, he must to be have experience. I have 25 years experience in different ways, and I have certificate from Italy that people come make training to me. When you see somebody, how you will know that person, what he have personality. So where you will put just Marta just there as a manager. We didn't find anything. We tried the smallest down until she said, I can make cleaner. I can make something in the home, panel, and go to Harabarak, sell it. What we will do? We have 2 kids. You cannot tell for the kids, this is our life, what to do, Baba? No, you must to think, you are the big.
Have you found any work?
No, until now we don't have work.
Have organizations been...
Organization մեզի բարեկամներ ասին որ ինչ կնեք, որ ասին ինչ որ մեր հետ գումար գա, դոնք կձախսենք որ. And then ինչ որ մենք ունենք արդեն վերջացավ ու մեր ցանոթ բարեկամները դուրսեն մեզի կհարցնեին ինչ կնեք, որ ուր հասակ, how much you have. And then they start to help us from outside, little. Everybody have life.
Your friends?
Friends, family, cousins, but everybody have life. No, nobody's panchen, bardatirchen morinzinain. And for me, this is first time. Asang pamagala, I'm Yankis match. I didn't learn in my life to open my hand for somebody. It's very hard. And then mezi is in organization, arakelitun hayot kating, sin vorduni varskin gokneng. They have limit. They cannot give more than this. And after 3 months, 4 months, they start to help us. Ange verche jambar darin, nakhararutenen janigin. She have medical problems. Panuni incă
Zoom.
Zob kësen hajren, araperenov kidem, I don't know in English. Ince.
Thyroid?
And then, as a government, mie na sonken vormeze okrutun. Megal Pana, Red Cross, when we come new, they give for us boxes. Macrelik paner shampoo evailen, megal udelik. Fishma. And this is all. Angezat, I think, as an Armenian government. There is another two, but that for Syrian people, I think, AGBUN. They give some clothes and pan pohkaganneru pamga gomidas. Every 3 months they give one bag, some macaron like this things. This is all.
Oh, are they not counted as Syrian people? You said it's for Syrian people, but is your family not considered to be from Syria?
Sorry.
Can you get? You said AGBU gives for Syrian.
It's Syrian organization.
AGBU?
It is international.
Yeah. But
From
you
US.
can get from them.
Yeah, the people are working there now, all Syrian people. So that's why when there is something, Mega Musin said, so we heard that they called, and it's not. I think in Mayo guest area or think Mega Ankama Kustavin. And one time they give $100. This is all.
And one time I make application that I want kitchen
Broshian, the mass number Kumari chap says the Abrankudan. If you want to make business,
Did you?
if you want to make kitchen and make something, they refuse.
In the next 5 to 10 years, what are your dreams and your hopes for your
To go
family?
out. To go out. I'm sorry. Until now, I'm proud to be Armenian, but from now, no. No. Too much things here. I don't want to talk to camera about that things, but only the kids, they are going to school and they are not happy. They have education outside more than here. They don't like. When they are in supermarket, somebody trolley of Gzarnen gam vodkin gansen pana wheel the Haska Gena and Baba, they didn't feel also. And they didn't tell sorry. I said, this is Armenia. Don't wait that things.
The simple thing, my husband every day.
For us, it's very hard to live here.
He always has here park to stay. Once time, one neighbor, because he's living here 20 years, he said, "Who are you? You are Syrian. Just how many months you are coming?"
Yeah, they fight with me.
Make like
Who
this.
are you? You come from Syria. We are here, people here. I said, don't talk to me like that in Armenian. I said, Mi khosiri medesanank, mengal hayeng tungal, menki echbayrenk si, and he start to laugh about my accent. And then I said, Kides tser hayeren si khale, menkai penki muning si, tik abagada inche si. That you are the wrong si, you have Rusyatsineren tough lal sorverek si, and the lifestyle what you are living here, we lived that before 40 years when I'm going to school. It's like that our country, Syria. And until now in the war they cut electric water, but you don't have war, you don't have electric and water here. And the cars what you see here, you make like this, we saw that in different countries. And then one time he said for his friend, ask, your country they have Lamborghini? And then Varjan asked, how many Lamborghini you have in Armenia? And then he said, 2, I think, for big people. And then Varjan said, you know, in our country, Lamborghinis is on the street.
Yeah.
We don't care about these things. And they are watching you as, something.
How do you reconcile this identity of being Armenian, but then seeing this as Armenia? How do you find the moments to still be proud to be Armenian?
Now I'm not proud at all.
What is?
I'm proud that I'm Armenian son. I'm proud with my grandfathers, what happened. I'm proud with Armenian all around the world, except Armenia, because they are not Armenian. They don't have christianing, they don't have marriage paper, and some people, they are living until 30-40 years. When he become big, he will choose if he make baptism or what. We don't have that in Armenian historic.
So what are some ways that you and your family are preserving the elements of being Armenian that you love?
Yes.
What are some good ways that you're doing that?
Here,
Yeah, within your family.
we are trying to do our best to catch our nervous, that to show these people what is Armenian people.
What is it?
And who is to be Armenian, what is it? What you must to be. Because they are only with name Armenian. They have Russian mind, they have...
So what are the good things about being Armenian? What does it mean?
the good things to being in Armenian, that I tell you, we are to being the first Christian people. And we have that Mesrop Mashtot, Vartan Mamigonian, Sasunti David, and we will take that Ararat Masis. I hope that I have that all from my father, and I teach for my kids. And I don't know, I'm proud for all Armenian people and my country also. But if they change the government and they put a school for these people to educate it again.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. This was so interesting.
Yeah.
Yes, we're so happy for meeting you.
I tell for them also. I tell if you change this government and the people bring it out and bring some government from US, France, that Armenian big people outside, put it here as a government and bring it all of Armenian outside the Armenia and put here, you will see next year here it will be like Switzerland. Because we are the Armenian, we know what to do, not the...
Thank you.
Shar Hagaling.